to be the male and female counterpart of the same aspect. We have a lot of deities. You have Ganesha also in Tibet. In fact, main tantric methods of worship of India are actually preserved by the Tibetan monks more than our people. India is a Vedic country, so you don't have that much of Tantra in India as much. Tibetan monks, their way of worship is Tantra, complete Tantra. Sorry?
No, I was going to something, but then I switched to finish.
Yeah, so there is a connection. Now, whatever you see in Tibet is from India.
We have here at the center this with Tibetan deities, and that's why I'm asking.
See, their approach is the problem is they consider everything as a bodhisattva and they mix it with Buddhism. So, but you can get initiated in the correct form of tantric worship of a deity through a Tibetan person who has followed a lineage. Yes, they have the very authentic methodology. If you resonate with them, please go through a Tibetan monk and get initiated. In India, there is the 6 major forms. In Tibet, it is usually different forms of Tara. It is usually all comes down to Tara. In Tibet, it is mostly Tara or Avalokiteshvara or 2-3 Bodhisattvas, Maitreya and things like that. Other deities, I don't know. Show me. What gods are there?
Shinamasta.
I'm sorry?
Shinamasta is also in Tibet.
Ka?
Shinamasta.
Chinnamasta, yes. Another form of Kali is called Chinnamasta. Is also mainly from Tibet. Shrim, Hrim, Hrim, Klim, Aim, Vajra, Vairochiniye, Hrim, Hrim, Bhat, Swaha is the mantra for Chinnamasta. He is a form of goddess without the head. She has the head in the hand and then stands naked on 2 people making love with the woman on top. She stands over them with the head cut in the hand and 3 blood streams come from her neck. One of the blood streams she drinks herself, other 2 blood streams 2 Dakinis will drink. It's a very, very symbolic deity. They are considered as one of the very most powerful forms of Shakti. Basically, Tibet uses more of Chinnamasta than India. Tantric forms, if you need to relate to them, you need to resonate from your subconscious mind without your knowledge. And you don't need to hold on to one form till your death. You can go from one form to the next form to the next form over a period of time. Because in Tantra, you only relate to that deity as a deity. You do not use it as the ultimate God. You arrive at your ultimate God, and once you arrive at it, you stick to that. Then you are not in Tantra anymore, you are in Vedanta. Relating to a form of God as ultimate God is Vedanta. Relating to a form of God as a deity is Tantra. And it is used for a specific purpose, in a specific level, up to a point. You may continue or you may not continue. It's all Lord Shiva only. Lord Shiva, Kala, only goes around Shiva and Parvati in Tibet. In India, we have a more broad spectrum, but if you have any specific thing, it may resonate with Tibet. Any other question? Forget gods, goddesses is only one topic. There are so many other things. Any technical question?
I just have in mind this question. What is the astral body?
Astral body means the combination of your sense faculties, the combination of your pranas. Yesterday I was explaining different areas. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. It is other than the physical body, the software inside you. The structure of thoughts, your ideas, combined with your sense faculties of the visual faculty and all those things called indriyas. The visual faculty, the auditory faculty, all this put together, the faculty. That software is called astral body.
I read there are 4 types of bodies, divine body.
There are a lot of models, there are a lot of classification models. In Vedanta, we use the model of causal body, astral body, physical body. And in the astral body, we have different levels. So we have the concept of 5 koshas, the 5 bodies. The physical body, the pranic body, the mental body, the body of understanding and ideas, the Vijnanamaya, and the body of ignorance. We have 5 bodies. So each one model.
Everybody has these bodies?
Yes.
It's not a matter of developing or something?
Nothing. It is a matter of the quality of the different bodies. Your physical body is different from my physical body. So my vital body is different from your vital body. Like that? But the causal body is the same for everybody. Other than the karmas. Causal body is in the form of ignorance with the seed tendencies. Your seed tendencies are different from my seed tendencies. Next question.
So you'll go briefly through the different type of yoga. So we know Hatha yoga and
Hatha yoga is basically asana and pranayama. Bhakti yoga means the method of you don't do bhakti yoga. You do karma through bhakti. Bhakti is an attitude of devotion. When I say whatever I do, the result of the action is in the hands of the God. So every time I do something, whenever I receive anything in life, I thank God. It is a form of bhakti. So bhakti is the attitude of devotion and surrender to God in different levels, in different ways. When you relate to your personal God, like for example, I relate to the goddess Lalita in the form of mother. The emotion of mother and child is what I have for my deity, let us say. So I have a bhavana, an attitude of emotion of connecting to that form of God in a personal way. It is called bhavana. Bhakti is bhavana combined with a love or an inclination to connect to that divinity, that form of God, a love for that God, and combined with the dedication and devoted way of connecting that God in every aspect of my life. This is called bhakti. Bhakti yoga is basically this. Means the method of arriving at the state of yoga. Yoga is a state of integral mind, the state of discrimination. The method of arriving at state of steady mind through the process of bhakti is bhakti yoga. Through the process of intelligent action with awareness, keeping in mind the role of God is karma yoga. When I do karma with the attitude of yoga is karma yoga. Whatever action I do, free service, whenever I come and clean up this space as a voluntary service, it is not karma yoga. It is called seva. When I do voluntary work, it is called seva, not service. It's called seva, not karma yoga. Your seva can be egoistic seva. But even your business can be karma yoga. You are trying to sell insurance policies can be karma yoga. Provided I understand and bring in the element of God in my action, in an attitude of discrimination and understanding, if I do an action, it is karma yoga. So more and more I do action in the attitude of yoga, it becomes karma yoga, and the action becomes a liberating action. That way of acting frees me from the compulsion to act. This is karma yoga. Raja yoga means Raja yoga, or let us say what this Paramahamsa Yogananda teaches us, Kriya yoga, is basically becoming aware of the subtle currents in the body and the subtle movements like these chakras and prana and all those things, and then using the control of that and silencing the different thought currents of the mind by understanding the different modes of the mind and mastery over the different modes of the mind directly through awareness, control and understanding. That is called Raja Yoga. Jnana Yoga does not mean the enlightenment I am talking about. Jnana Yoga means using the right understanding and the power of discriminatory awareness which you get in your effortless meditation, and also using the right understanding of yourself and the world and the things around and applying it in every moment of life is Jnana Yoga. See, these different methods, approaches of yoga, these different approaches help you to arrive at the